openness that they've been engaged. So I'm privileged with this opportunity, and I told our team when we received the invitation, inshallah, welcome, because some of these, weeks and months in the past year, been traveling a lot, been seeing the other side of Indonesia, then outside the urban. Seeing the numbers of our trade from the Ministry of Trade between our country has grown during the period of 2018-2022 at the rate around 10% per year in terms of the total trade value. So we are experiencing, the fact of a decline this year with all the global challenges and economic pressure, but we hope our trade will recover strongly near the future. Meanwhile, numbers from the US Bureau of Economic Analysis shows that the direct investment from the US to Indonesia also experienced healthy growth before the pandemic, peaking at almost $20 billion in 2019. Yes, we are seeing a decent post-pandemic recovery on this front, especially in important sectors like manufacturing, but we do hope that these numbers will continue to grow strongly in the years to come. But this brings me to the point that I'd like to share here, that we are committed and we will continue the pattern that Indonesia has had for the past few decades. Macroeconomic policy, fiscal policy were being given to the hand of two true technocrats. Someone with solid technocratic background, with solid understanding of the economy, understanding of how policies are being made to manage our macroeconomy, ensuring monetary policy, fiscal policy were in line and in the directions of our medium and long-term economic development. And that's commitment that we are holding as presidential candidates. I'm sharing this to others, and also based on our experience in the past, that when these sectors were being managed by people of competence and people of integrity, then we're good to go. But if we compromise these two things, on competency and on integrity, we may be going in the right direction, in the wrong direction. So, given that, I think we would like to send that message here. And based on our experience with conversation with the previous session with Amcham, I've been privileged to have the opportunity to share with some of you during our discussion, be it in my previous position as governor, or a few months ago, discussions with economy with Amcham. I found out that the business community, the US business community here in Indonesia, were not so much worried about macroeconomic performance. Our feedback, the feedback that we had, is more on, Pak Anies, the issue is predictability. The issue is consistency. The issue is synchronizing policies. The issue is corruption. The issue is ensuring that political stability translates into consistency of policy. So I've been hearing that, and that's not only in this community. I've been meeting with various different business communities, investment communities, be it here or internationally, at session abroad. And almost a similar message was echoed. So I must say that yes, indeed, politics is dynamics. It's everywhere in the world. But Indonesia, especially in the past few weeks, has been very, very dynamic, even on our terms. Change happens. However, I must also underline to you that Indonesians and Indonesian democracy is generally seeing our democracy is consolidating. We have seen elections during pre-democracy and post-democracy. Almost all of these elections were widely well organized, well accepted, and people move on, including local elections. I was once told, Panis, look at local elections. No less than 300 local elections being contested at the Constitutional Court. That shows we have problems. In my perspective, it doesn't show that we have problems. It shows that we respect judicial system to function. Look, they protested the election result not on the street, but going to the Constitutional Court and demand the judge to decide. And the judge has 2 weeks to decide. And when they decide, this is the winner, the A or the B, they accept it, they may not be happy, but going back home and move on. And that has been the pattern of our democracy for the past 25 years. So we must be very proud of our democracy, we must be very proud of our electorate, and I think we will continue to be a consolidating democracy and an example of a vibrant democracy in this region and also across the globe. In a country that is extremely diverse, an extremely diverse country, and yet you have this vibrant democracy. So even though, in the elites you may be seeing radical move, radical change, that's among the elites, and elites everywhere is like that. But the electorate is different. And therefore, I'm quite optimistic that even in the next election, we will be seeing election, hopefully, free, fair, hopefully, and that's our message too. And people will participate actively in this election. So, going back to the main issues, I think what is our clear agenda on this? A few things. What we have noticed, and this is our main issue that we are echoing during our campaign. We have seen a new phenomenon across the globe, that disparities between countries were narrowing down, but disparities within country were widening. Indonesia is now part of G20. 30 years ago, we are so far away from being top 20 economy in the world. Now we are in the club of Big 20, the top 20. We will be moving up the ladder. Disparities between Jakarta, Tokyo, Singapore, New York, London were narrowing down. However, disparities within countries were widening. Between Jakarta and the rest of Java, between Java and the outer islands, between urban and rural, those are widening. And we need to address this issue, because Indonesian economy is not only Jakarta's economy, it's not only Java economy, but the economy across Indonesia. If we continue to have centralized centers of economic activity in Java, we will continue to pull best brain into Jakarta, into Java, and we will continue enlarging disparities. So our main message for our campaign is keadilan, equality, equal opportunity. And we would like to see more centers of economic growth across Indonesia. Not only in Java, but at least 14 other major cities across Indonesia to be stimulated, to be transformed into major mover of economy in those particular regions across Indonesia. So that's one aspect that I'd like to share here. So we will pursue the directions of reindustrialization. We need to continue on that. That is the path that we need to push, reindustrialization. And on that aspect, central government will have to provide clear policy direction on this. I was fortunate, I was so blessed to have the opportunity to serve in government, in the national government as Minister of Education, and then I served as governor. These are completely two different roles. One is delivering policy direction, for the national level, but two is policy delivery at the local level. And I've experienced the fact that often we, the local leaders, governor, mayors, region, lack of clear national directions about issues that is of interest to national interest or local interest. Talk about investment. We don't have clear direction. What do we need to achieve? What are our KPI for each particular region? What is the direction we need to pursue? On social issue, the same thing. Maternity, angka kematian ibu melahirkan, maternal mortality rate, for example, or stunting, or primary school enrollment rate, secondary school enrollment rate. We did not have directions from national government on what every leaders at the local level have to achieve. This is not to talk about environmental issue, which is more complex. We signed agreement at the international level. We need to translate that into national policy and translate that into regional and local policy. Synchronizing all of that is second issue that we would like to pursue. We would like to see a country that has clear direction, translated into technocratic policy, understood by local leaders across Indonesia, provincial and local, as well as across sectors. That's why if you had, if some of you haven't had the opportunity, you can ask your staff or yourself to read our statement of PC and MISI, vision and mission. And in that vision and mission, we divide it into two major streams. One is sectoral issue, two is territorial. What is priority for Sumatra? What is priority for Kalimantan? What is priority for Sulawesi? What is priority for Papua? What is priority for archipelago? Like Jakarta. Jakarta is the only city in the world that has archipelago. It has 111 islands north of us. And how do we develop archipelago? This is an archipelago. So we try to translate that idea of equality into technocracy and clear synchronized policy directions, so that being governors, I know what is the priority from national level, and I can translate that into action at the local level. And national government have the fiscal and non-fiscal incentive, disincentive to communicate with local leaders, and that has not been exercised for so many years. We are given block of fund regardless of how good we perform on our development agenda, and that needs to change. Is that new? No, we did that in Jakarta. We translate our agenda at the city level, translate that into our department's achievement items, KPI, and then created a unit to ensure monitoring on the implementations of all of that. The other aspect, the third aspect that we'd like to echo here is ensuring that good governance is present and corruption eradication need to be re-strengthened. We need not only strengthening KPK, which is good, but KPK deals only with large cases. We need to really seriously transform our way of combating corruption. There are three things why corruption is happening. At least three reasons. Why corruption happens: because of need, because of greed, because of system. What is the need? There are many employees of government who are making their salaries or their monthly salary, their annual salary so low that they cannot survive. And this needs to be addressed. We didn't address that very much. We tried to do that in Jakarta. Now, employee of Jakarta government is making equivalent to their counterpart in the private sectors. so that small corruptions that is dealt with daily people can be addressed. So that's why. Number two, greed. Of course, that's where KPK is handling the greed. This is about ensuring punitive actions and strict law enforcement through reform in our judiciary system, in our law enforcement agency. And this requires clear political will from the top leadership. It requires from the top, it cannot start from anywhere else. And if Indonesia would like to embark on the journey becoming a more advanced country, good governance need to be corrected, practice of corruption need to be seriously handled, and that is one of our main agenda. And I think the public in general were also agreeing on that. There is one aspect that we have overlooked in our political reform. We reform our electoral system, we reform our party system, we reform our centralized government into decentralized government, we reform our institution at the central government 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But we did not reform our political party financing, and that is one of the core issue of corruption's policy today. And political party financing, election financing is nothing new. Many democracies across the globe have dealt with that. And they have many different approaches into solving that problem. We did not touch it yet. We haven't done any reform there. And I think that is one of the key policy reform we need to put forward and to execute. Without addressing this issue, we will always have inconsistency of policies. We will always confront it with intertwine of political interests with policy making. And if you look at studies on middle income track, some of the reason why countries track into this middle income track is because political institutions produce policy that does not reflect public interest and national interest, but reflect micro interest of political party and political groups within the government. And that has been the reason why some countries were tracked in this middle income track. And I think we need to address that. So that's very key. But not less important than that is the issue of meritocracy. I must also say that the issue of meritocracy is important to create the spirit of openness, the spirit of open competition, the spirit of optimism. Not only in the area of bureaucracy, but meritocracy in every other aspect. We would like to have that feeling of meritocracy happening again in Indonesia. We had that many years ago. And we'd like to see that is going back. So the point is this. If we are doing all of this, we hope we create a society, a nation that is trustworthy. That the world look at us with trust. And I often told our team, how do you measure trust of the world toward us? Simple. If you're doing investment, you agree to sign the deal in Jakarta, not in Singapore. You sign the deal not in Hong Kong, but here in Jakarta, under our legal system. But if large deals, large investment were still being signed outside Indonesia, that's a simple message that we don't trust your legal system. We don't trust your political system. Therefore, we don't sign our deal here. And that's what I told our team when I managed Jakarta public transport. I mentioned to them, I'll give you a simple KPI, whether our public transport is improving and meeting international standard or not. Simple. If you are not seeing expat taking our public transport, then we are not yet there yet. But if you're seeing our expat take public transport, then we are home there. Simple KPI. So to translate complex message into simple, understandable, and achievable. And that's what has been our approach. So given all of that, I often said to our team, we like the idea of equality, we like the idea of creating more economic opportunity across Indonesia, we're improving, reforming our government, all of that. I put it in a simple line, membesarkan yang kecil tanpa mengecilkan yang besar. Enlarging the small one without squeezing or limiting the big ones. Let the big one grow, but let's create policy that ensure the small, the micro, the remote to grow. It's a translation from big policy ideology into policy statement, and then into program, into action. And if we do that, and there's a political support from political parties, from party leaders, I think I'm optimistic. We will be seeing new Indonesia, an Indonesia that will be respected by ourselves within our country, and also gaining respect across the globe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Bapak Anies Baswedan, the former governor of Jakarta, as well as 2024's presidential candidate of the Republic of Indonesia. Thank you very much for your laser-sharp perspectives that will undoubtedly provide valuable insights into the dynamics that shape Indonesia's and the